Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast. So, let's get into this topic today because I find that it is extremely important to start to wrap your mind around, and that is your energy as currency and understanding really how you spend it. So, we want to look at this whole episode today, and I want you to kind of start to wrap your mind around it in the way of money, because you know how money works at this point, right? If you walk into a store and you have $1 and you want to buy something for $1, you give them your money and they give you the thing of value to you for $1, and you have an exchange, right? So I want you to start to look at your money as that, because also, as your energy as that, because also there is ways that you can feel completely depleted. So if you've been, let's say, spending too much, and you're starting to deplete your resources, or what are you putting into your reserves? Like, what are you saving for yourself for the days maybe that you don't feel your best, or for the days when you just want to give. Like maybe you do want to give to others, and then you're coming from this really powerful place. So right now, what I want you to do is just take a moment and just think about, if your energy were actual dollars, would you feel wealthy or would you feel drained? So think about that for a minute. Are you feeling wealthy in energy, or are you feeling completely drained? And I think that for most of us, if I'm asking this question, you probably immediately just say drained. And I'm going to tell you that when I hear that answer, that question, my answer is I feel wealthy, and I do things that really start to support my energetic frequency and my vitality and what makes me feel good. And for me, that is so unbelievably important, because I am constantly doing a lot and I have a lot of things to balance, as we all do. And I put my vitality and my energy at the forefront of what I do. Okay. So, like, that is a priority for me. And maybe vitality isn't a priority for you in this moment, but maybe like self care needs to be your priority. Maybe making time for the things that you love to do, because like that's what fills you up and that's what makes you feel so much joy. Maybe that's not a priority for you. And when you are doing so much for other people, and also when you're not really protecting your energy, that's when we start to really give the energy away so much that we are depleted. And I want you to start to have some things in the reserves, because we do have to give energy. That's part of it, right? There is a give and a receive. And we do live in a universe that understands that basically runs off of reciprocity. So there is a giving energy and there's a receiving energy. And I love this exercise by my mentor, Marissa Peer. So I'm going to do this with you now. So what I want you to do is take a big breath in. So you're taking right now, right? And then all the way in. And then I want you to exhale and keep exhaling and just giving and keep exhaling, giving until you can't give anymore, and then giving more, and give, and exhale. And doesn't it not feel good to just completely give? Now I want you to start to inhale and maybe taking some of that breath back, but inhaling and keep going. And now take that inhale, take that air, take it, keep taking, take it until you can't take anymore, and holding that. And that doesn't feel natural either, right? So now if we allow ourselves to return to normal breathing, we can see that reciprocity. We can see that who we are as humans innately must have a give and a take. Okay. So understanding that, we need to allow for each of them. And most of us feel drained because we give, and don't give back to ourselves. We don't take something back because at some point we either decided that we're unworthy of that we're not meant to be a priority, that we just don't have time for it, that everybody else, our kids, our families, work, friends, everybody else matters more than you do. And that's just not the case. It's just not. So then we feel depleted all the time. You feel energy poor, right? And that's no way to live. Like I always come back to that all the time. Like that is no way to live your life, feeling depleted all the time. We're meant to have vitality. You're meant to feel so good in this beautiful life. And you have to start to make time and space for those things so that you feel energy wealthy. So here are some things that I really like to do to tap into that energy wealth. And the reason that I find it so important is that when you are energy wealthy, you manifest easier. You are, because you're giving to yourself, you're feeling good, you're vibrating at a higher frequency. So you're manifesting easier. Also, your intentional living practices, so like your ritualized practices, seem to be a little bit more in depth. And when I find that when these rituals that we like to do, whether it's a morning ritual or maybe you do like a nighttime, like a bedtime ritual, or maybe you have like little energy things that you do throughout the day, those rituals just hit different when you are really allowing yourself to go just that little bit deeper. And then you can actually fall into those rituals so much more easily because you are not tired. So at the end of the day, holding energy takes energy as well. And if you're working with energy and holding that energy frequency steady and you want to manifest something and you're trying to, really raise your vibration and manifest things to you that get that into that law of attraction frequency, you need to be clear. You need to be feeling good. And it doesn't mean you can't have bad days and all of that stuff, right? That's absolutely part of it. But like, how many bad days do you have, right? In a row? Like, this is where we want to start to look at what we are trying to do with our lives. Okay. So I want you to start looking at your life as, how am I today? Am I drained? Am I energy wealthy? And what could I continuously do? What would make me feel energy wealthy? And maybe that's just like carving out 10 minutes in the morning to like color because you love art, or maybe you love color. And if that's the case, we have an incredible journal here called Quiet Your Mind, Busy Your Hands by Cameron Rogers. And you'll love it. I mean, there's coloring pages, there's journaling, there's so many fun things in there. And it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. And I really love that. So maybe it's like coloring and like tapping into that inner child. Maybe it's writing your book. Maybe the book that's been inside you probably since you're a kid. Like maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's painting or going for a run. Like whatever it is that you keep telling yourself that you just don't, I just don't have time. I just don't have time. You have time. Make the time. Do something different to make time for yourself so that you can start getting into that energy wealth area. Okay. I want you in that energy wealthy area. I want you in money wealth too, but you can start to be in that energy wealth. Now, these are things that you can do to start adding into your energy bank, let's say. Okay. And when you give your energy, I want you to be intentional with it. So start getting intentional with the energy that you give. So you don't want to just like, spend your energy on things that don't make you feel good, right? You want to start to think about the energy that you're putting out there. And what does that mean? Well, that means saying no to some things, right? And even if you're the type of person maybe that like gets a little FOMO, like start to really think about, is it worth it? And sometimes you're going to be like, yes, like it's going to be so much fun. I get to see my friends. I get to see my family. I haven't seen them. Awesome. And then sometimes you're going to be like, no, I am so tired as it is. And this isn't going to be good for me. And if that's the case, then you have to start saying no. And just end of story. And you can say, no, I'm just exhausted and I can't bring myself to do it. No, I can't do it. But also, no is a complete sentence as well. So just feel good with saying, no, I'm sorry, can't, and starting to do that. Now, if people ask you for help all the time, how can you create boundaries? Boundaries is going to be another big one, because if you don't create the boundaries, you're just, honestly, your energy is being siphoned. And there's so many different ways that your energy can be siphoned. So I really want to dive into this part of it, because this is the part that sometimes, I mean, it has to do with you, but then sometimes it doesn't. And it really comes down to awareness. I mean, it always, I guess, involves you, and it's whether you're aware enough or not, and you're taking the right precautions. So let's talk about energy siphoning. So sometimes people like to take our energy, and we don't even realize that part of it. And sometimes they don't even realize that they're doing it, but you know how you feel after you've been around somebody that is like a low vibration energy. Like maybe they're just really, negative, and maybe they are just like, everything is like Debbie Downer, right? Like, so that is so draining on your energy. So how can you not be around that person for long periods of time, if at all? Like, how can you just kind of say no and not be in that energy? Now, if you have to, making sure that you protect your energy, and you should be protecting your energy every day. There's no more excuses. We've talked about it a million times. You have to protect your energy. You don't want to give other people your energy unless it's high vibration, love and joy and like gratitude and things like that. But you don't want to give anybody your energy, because that's siphoning, that's taking it away. It's enmeshing with somebody. Their energy is becoming your energy, and then you don't know where you end and they begin. We don't want that. We don't want that. And that's what starts to deplete your energy as well. Because if you don't know where your energy ends and somebody else's begins, and their energy is like toxic, that's not good for you. So really starting to get aware of the people in your life and who is draining and who is not, because they are draining your account of energy. They're draining that from you. So maybe your boss is toxic. Maybe the people that you work with, like, get another job. People don't think that they can get another job. And I was there. So I'm like with you. But you can get another job. You can start looking for something and start to find an environment that feels a way, way better for you. Like, I'm going to give you that permission slip, like, get that resume together and start putting it out there. And let's just jump. Let's leap into what feels good. Let intuition lead the way, of course, but like, start to do the things that have been on your mind for God knows how long. Okay. So, getting yourself out of these situations, creating boundaries, and now we have like energy vampires. So, all the stories are true. Okay. There are vampires, and they are energy vampires, and they look to suck the energy out of you. Maybe sometimes they don't always, but I feel like a lot of times they do. It's like misery loves company. They want to like take you down with them. And that to me is so energy vampire material. Okay. That's somebody really looking to just suck all of the life out of you, all the life force out of you, and then kind of like leave you feeling empty like they feel. And it's harsh that I'm saying that. It's harsh. However, it's true. Like, this is what happens, and you can't allow it to happen. And a lot of times we are seeing these things happen. We are seeing them. We know that somebody's an energy vampire, and we still will go out to lunch with them, and we will still invite them to things. And we have to learn either massive boundaries if you have to invite them to things, like they're a family member, whatever. Or you really, really need to create like that energetic protection that doesn't suck that energy from your life force. Like, you cannot allow it anymore. The other things that will affect you is, or could affect you, is giving your power away. So when you give your power away, what that could mean, it means it in so many different ways, to be quite honest with you. But I want to talk about like things that you can't control, like other people's actions, other people having opinions about you, negativity, people talking about you. Like you can't control that. You can't. What you can control is what you do with it. And this can either suck the life force from you, or it can actually give you power. Because when you don't give these things attention, they don't have that hold over you and they don't drain your energy. And so you have to decide, even though, it could be annoying or just like a pain in the butt, any of those things, it could be hurtful, whatever that is, you can have all of those emotions. I'm never saying don't have those emotions. I actually think that feeling your emotions, I say this all the time, feeling your emotions is like the biggest way to understand yourself, have self-awareness, manifest. I mean, like all the different things. So feel them, but don't get so caught up in it that it's the only thing that you're thinking about, because that will continuously drain your energy. And at the end of the day, if somebody's talking about you or upsetting you in some way, they are not worth your time. They are not worth your attention. It's like literally what they want. So don't give it. Like, end of story. You have the ability to not. End of story. You have the ability to not give that power away. You have the ability to not continuously give your energy to something that you have no control over. So let it go. Okay. And stay out of it as much as possible. And if you have to tell people around you, like, I don't want to hear about it, I don't want to see it, please don't bring it up to me. That's a boundary, right? Create a boundary that you don't want anything that's going to do that to you, because you really don't care. Right? Like at the end of the day, do you care that much? Is it going to, like, are you going to allow it to ruin your inner peace? I mean, you could, and that would again deplete your energy bank account. So we don't want to do that. So these are the things that you can really do to stop allowing your bank account to be depleted, and knowing what fills your bank account. So starting to lean more into those things. And when you're giving your energy, I really want you to focus when you're giving. Okay. I want you to make first in the receiving, okay, in filling up that bank account. What I want you to do is start creating the time and space and seeing how you're making excuses for not. So what are the excuses that you're making for not filling the bank account? I spoke to somebody today who she had like a lot of back pain going on, like really bad. And I think I had asked like, oh, do you see like a chiropractor? And she said, well, it's just like too much to like go to the appointments. And I was like, when she's like, like even though like I do, like I might feel better, it's just like too much to go like once or twice a week. And I'm like, but you'll feel better if you do that. Like, you feel better doing it. So, and I said, I'm like, if I were coaching you right now, I would say like, why do you want to like continue to be in this pain? And like, why are you making excuses for it? And she was like, yeah, no, I do. Like, I just don't have the time. And I'm like, it's an excuse. Like, you're putting everybody before you. Okay. So I want you to see, like, kind of catch yourself and say, like, how am I actually making an excuse so that I can still sit in pain or that I can still be uncomfortable? Right. And that's what we're doing. We're making excuses. Because let me tell you something, the amount of time it could take to paint, to go to the doctor, to take a walk, all that stuff, you literally wasted it scrolling Instagram in the morning. You did. You wasted it at that time. And then you tell yourself you don't have time. Well, make it a priority. Make it the thing that you do first thing in the morning when you wake up, so that you've already filled up your bank account that morning. Okay. So start to create this time and space to fill your energy bank account so that you feel energy wealthy. Then what I want you to do is start to look at all of the situations in your life where you are giving. And some of those givings, you may feel amazing from them. You might feel like, when I give in this way, this makes me feel so good. Like when I do spinal energetics, when I do any kind of healing like that, I feel amazing. I am like, this is me giving to the world. This is me helping out the world, right? Like that is what I do. And while I'm giving, it feels very reciprocal because it fills my heart so much that it also feels like I'm receiving as well. So, and they say, when you give a healing, you get a healing as well, but it's different. It's more of like a heart opening for me that like I get to do this. Right. So that's a way that I give that feels really good to me. Now, there are, most of the time I would say when I'm giving to my kids, that feels really good. But then sometimes when it's like giving too much and I haven't created that time and space for myself, or it feels like it's nonstop and we're on the go, then sometimes that doesn't feel good. So, like, maybe in those times, like, do you need to ask for help? Right. And like, that's what I'll do. I'll be like, I need help right now, and I will ask for that help. I'm not afraid to ask for help. I used to be, not so much anymore. So I've gotten comfortable with that. So, asking for help when you need it could be an amazing way to still be able to give, but also know what your limits are in it. So start to kind of audit all of the energy that you give out and see what is so depleting, but you could actually ask for help. Who in your life is depleting? Where are you giving your power away to energy vampires? Where are you giving your power away into things that you don't have control over? And once you do this audit, I want you to kind of do like a side by side. Like if you ever took like accounting classes, like in school, where it's like the credits and the debits and all the things, I want you to look at it and I want you to see if there is, that if the side of let's say the expense side, let's say an income and expense, like if is the expense side so big that the income side is like minuscule in comparison, then we have an energy bank account problem. Okay. So look at those things and start to figure out how you can start creating more time to put that energy into your bank account and start to reduce some of those ways that you're giving it away in ways that don't feel good. Okay. So I want you to this is going to be your homework, is to do an energy audit on yourself and see all of these things. Okay. Write it all down. And I want to hear from you. What is the first thing that you're going to do to start to shift that energy and start to put more into your bank account? So I want to see what those things are going to be, because a lot of times those things are the things that light us up, like painting or coloring or, playing, I don't know, video games or like something like that makes you feel good. Okay. So make sure that you are doing this audit. Send it over to us on Instagram at Spirit and Soul Studio. Would love to hear from you. And also, I'm going to ask, guys, please make sure that you are sharing this podcast. If you enjoy it, make sure that you are sharing this podcast with your friends. Please leave us a review. I would love to hear, how we've maybe been helping you here at Spirit and Soul. And that's it. So thank you for joining me on this episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast.